I'm Dion.
And this is video 2
From Two Idiots on a Bike.
Yep. Our 1-day trip around 7 passes in the Lake District.
So we're doing 3 passes this time. These were the next 3 after the previous video, so if you haven't seen it yet, go and watch it. And this time we're doing Newlands. I couldn't think of the name there. Honister and Kirkstone. So we're just starting off with Newlands Pass here. And what did you think of Newlands?
I really liked Newlands. It was the first time on the day we'd come up with quite a bit more traffic. I think when we were first coming into it. And we'd only just passed. It was a fell, not a pass, where we'd just come.
No, it was Whinlatter.
We'd just come past. But I thought after Hardknott and Wrynose Pass, that would have been the highlights of the day. But it wasn't.
Yeah. Newlands, I like Newlands as well. Probably of the day, Kirkstone, I loved Kirkstone because it was technical and challenging. But Newlands and Honister were just faster, they were just more flowing, and that gave them their own sort of charm. And actually they were more fun to ride.
Very scenic as well, both of those were really, really scenic all the way through. And I think all of them had enough difference to make it a really interesting ride and an interesting day.
There was a good bit of variety throughout the day.
Definitely, there really, really was. So this one was kind of more, like you say, open, but there was more traffic.
Yeah. Actually, from this point on, we had quite a bit of traffic. Probably started at Whinlatter, really, because just of the time of day.
Yep. And everybody realised the sun was out.
Yeah. So everybody, of course, wants to go to the lakes.
And why not? We were already there.
Yeah. Well, as we know, we weren't supposed to be on the bike.
Yeah, we were already there on our walk.
Yeah, but for most of this now, we just stuck behind cars. I mean, we managed to get past quite a few cars, but later on, especially once we get to Kirkstone, we just stuck behind cars, really. Yeah,
we might have been able to do a little more filtering, but as we'd said in the previous video, we did have the panniers on and also the top box as well, so it's not so easy to filter with the panniers.
Yeah, the top box doesn't affect filtering, at least.
No, but you do whinge about the weight still.
Not when it's just a top box.
When it's all 3.
Yeah, when it's all 3. Yeah. And I think rightly so. Someone's got to look after the bike and make sure that we don't topple over.
Well, they are there for a reason.
Yes.
And I do pack a lot lighter now than I used to.
That is true.
I'm only allowed 1 bra.
Yeah. Look, I don't even take any bras. So I don't know what you're complaining about.
You can take as many as you like. Pack an extra for me.
Well, I would like to take 0.
Well.
Personally for me, thank you. If you don't mind.
Well, that's all right. Can I take your allowance?
Well, yeah, you can take my 0. That's fine. Actually, I think I want to take -1. I want to pretend I take a bra. Does that count as -1? So
no.
Yeah, have my allowance.
I think I'll just filter in there.
Well, I
just overtook.
Overtook, not filtered. Overtook.
Yeah.
But it was just, the whole day was just amazing. It was just gorgeous. Sunshine. Yeah, we couldn't have asked for better.
We couldn't have. The weather was absolutely lovely. It was still cold because it was still March. I only had 1 heated glove. But I was still thankful for that one side. Probably had heating pads on the other. I don't think I did that day, actually. I think it was warm enough without.
I know you had heating pads in the room the night before, but maybe didn't put them on. Not sure.
Yeah, I didn't bring many because obviously we were supposed to be going on the walk, so I didn't think I would need.
So maybe just explain what you mean by heating pads.
I forgot that wasn't actually a thing. So when I say heating pads, with my heated trousers, my knees hurt after a little while having the heated trousers on. So on one trip, where we might not have even had heated clothes at all, I had the bright idea of using deep heat pads. So on some occasions, I look like a patchwork doll underneath one of my clothes and have heat pads on my shins, sometimes on my feet, and on my hands.
What's the most number of pads you've had on so far?
2 on each foot.
2 on each foot?
Yeah.
Like one at the bottom, one at the top?
Yep, one at the bottom, one at the top. Shins. I'm not sure how to describe.
Your thighs, inner thighs.
Inner thighs. And so one each there. And then 2 on each hand.
One on the palm, one on the top of your hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's with a heated jacket and still heated gloves.
So, guys, if you're listening, clearly your heated clothing isn't warm enough. Either that, or we just sometimes go out when it's just too blue and cold.
Yeah, I think there's been occasions of both of those things.
I do think both of those things are true.
Yeah, I do as well. Yeah.
But one of those things isn't going to stop.
I didn't even think when you said heating pads that people wouldn't know what those were.
No.
It's just the standard biking gear.
Well, I must admit, I have never actually met anybody who's just stuck heating pads all over their body. Damn it, you.
Creative.
It is creative and it works for you.
Well, absolutely. When we've been in supermarkets and been stuck,
Yeah.
and I can't fit another layer on.
Yeah.
Heating pads. I'm not sure what the long-term effects of, because I think some of them come with like some kind of medication in them.
Well, it probably just chills you out or something. Just
No wonder I fall
sedates you.
asleep.
Yeah. You're sedated, you're drugged on the back.
Well, I have a wonderful time.
Ooh, the world's floating.
But I don't think I had many heating pads on this day.
No.
But now you all
Not
know
sure.
what heating pads are.
Just for the record, I have never ridden a bike with heating pads stuck to me. I would just like to put it out there.
I've definitely had your share of those then.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you have. I like to think I'm a normal human being that dresses in a normal way.
No ski jackets either.
No, I haven't had a ski jacket, but well, the closest I've come has been my rain jacket.
Yeah.
Prior to the rocker suit. Now that I've got the rocker suit, I don't need that.
Well, I do have a nice new jacket now, though. Not that I wasn't using a nice jacket before I did have a Risha jacket, but, well, I've got 2 Risha jackets. However, neither of those were warm enough and they were leather, so they weren't really waterproof.
No.
And then putting a rain jacket over was just a little bit too tight. So I do have a proper jacket now. But it isn't as warm as my ski jacket over a motorbike jacket.
Well, it does block the wind well, though, doesn't it?
It does, but I can move better.
Yeah, and this is a Denesi jacket, isn't it?
Yeah. And I do really like that. And I do love the Denesi pants, but they are better with heat pads. So Denesi, if you're listening, get some heat pads into your pants.
Yeah, how are they going to do that, considering heat pads are one use only?
Well, it'll be just getting motorbike pants, but with the heating element already in. So
That's called heated clothing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think you need some. I think we're going to try those warm and safe though. Can you get like leggings? So just the under leggings rather than having like full on heated trousers.
I think you can. I don't know. I need to double check that.
Yeah.
I know that you can get under gloves,
Yes,
for
those
example.
are
I
my
think Kais
next.
makes under gloves now.
But I couldn't find any anywhere anymore, so I don't know whether they've just sold out or they've stopped doing them.
However, I don't really want to buy any more Kais clothing, to be perfectly honest. I'm quite disillusioned with Kais as a brand.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen some miles with them, but coming through here was like a little bit of a different world at times. So a little bit of like how I would imagine being in America on some points, where it was just open stretches, just kind of mountains on either side. Yeah, it was very pretty actually.
I don't know if I'm in the right place of America, but in my head I'm kind of imagining Montana or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know it enough.
And I could be wrong. I mean, Montana could look completely different, but I've got Montana in my head for that. So I don't know if I'm just sort of remembering something in the back of my mind from something I'd seen maybe long ago, or I'm probably getting it completely confused. I mean, I'm not one of the idiots on the bike for nothing after all. So.
Well, you're not alone on being an idiot on a bike.
Well, that I'm glad about.
Yeah, at least there is definitely two idiots on a bike. One high as a kite on the back, falling asleep, with all of the paracetamol or whatever's in deep heat pants.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, aren't I glad to know that I'm not the only idiot on a motorcycle? I mean, I do feel better now.
We will let you all know when we're back there so you can avoid the roads.
Yeah, probably safe.
So this is coming up to, is this near where the pub is?
No, this is Newlands. The pub isn't near, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the top of Newlands.
Yeah. Now, I have to keep stopping because the GPS has got the waypoint for Newlands in the middle of the Newlands route, the Newlands Pass. So my Risha gloves are supposed to be able to be touchscreen sensitive. They're not. So we have to stop every time for me to take my glove off, take the waypoint away. Otherwise, Google Maps keeps complaining that we have to turn around. So that's why we stop at the top of every mountain pass.
But we do like to take in the view normally when we're at the top of a mountain pass as well. I mean, you are there. You know, sometimes you use it to stretch your legs. When it's a warmer day, you don't as much need to. But when it is cold, I do feel like I need to get off the bike a little bit more just to thaw out.
Yeah, and you stiffen up as well.
You do really stiffen up, when it's freezing. But and we did find out actually that we are much better with time when it's warmer. So normally when it's freezing cold and has been all through the winter, which has felt like about a 2-year winter, and so normally we would be stopping for a coffee, stopping to go to the loo and unlayering, which takes about 40 minutes. And we didn't have any of that on this trip.
No, it was great.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So we could just stop wherever we wanted, where there was a nice view, nice place to stop and just have a moment, have a walk and snack.
Yeah.
Because I did pack plenty of walk and snacks.
Yeah, that was half the weight. Yeah, they were a lot of snacks.
Yeah. This was a nice fast part though as well.
Yeah, I did enjoy this part. And the road surface here wasn't as bad as it was on Hardknott, for example.
No, the road surface on Hardknott was the worst I've ever seen, other than one of the green lanes, did you call them?
Green lanes.
Yeah. So other than on a green lane, I don't think I've seen a road surface as bad as Hardknott, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Considering how narrow the road is and how you really have to be so careful on the road, you need the surface to be in perfect condition, really.
You do.
You know, and on top of the mountain, where Hardknott is, you get the worst weather at times. So
I think people are a bit more careful, though, aren't they, when they do that pass.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to go flying up and down there when it's misty and rainy and everything else.
No. Well, you might go flying down there.
Well,
if it's
then you
misty
would
and
be.
rainy and you've taken your bike up.
Yeah, that's true. You would be flying down. There's a good chance of that. Yeah, so we're just waiting for the car. Yeah, and that's the trouble with the lakes. Once it starts getting busy with these narrow lanes, you're just constantly waiting. So it wasn't too bad in this particular day.
It wasn't, and actually,
Could have been worse.
we did finally get the walk done a few weeks later. So was it last weekend? We finally got the walk done that we went for initially, and we were out early for that as well. I think we set off 3 o'clock in the morning, but had the car.
Well, we got up at 3 instead of just after 4.
Yep, and went on the walk, and it was really quiet then until probably about lunchtime actually. So it seems like morning is your best time to go.
Yeah. So this is now coming on to, well, actually this little stretch is just after Buttermere, because Newlands finishes in Buttermere. So you just go past this body of water, and then you're coming up to Honister Slate Mine for the start of Honister. Now, just going back a little bit to what you were saying about the walk, just in case you haven't seen the first video, we were supposed to be doing a walk this day, but where do I start? Long story short, we were all ready for the walk. We came the night before, we stayed in Ambleside, and in the morning we got ready, we got up early, we got ready. Last thing we needed to do, put our shoes on, and then realised that the wrong shoes were packed. So
who would pack the wrong shoes?
I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it with someone packed my walking boots, and more fool me, I didn't check it, but it was the wrong size walking boots. So we couldn't go for the walk.
What I thought was, he really doesn't want to go on a walk. He would much prefer to go on a bike ride all day.
That was very kind, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just always thinking about you.
Yeah, no, well, I appreciate that because it worked out brilliantly.
It did. And I think that is one of the things that we've done the whole time when we've been out. We do know that we come across things that are unexpected. Many times has that happened, and we just divert. Yeah. We just change the plan slightly and change what we're going to do and enjoy it regardless. Well, and that is what we did today.
Yeah. What else are you going to do? So this is now the Honister Slate Mine. So Honister is quite a steep one as well. It goes up to 25% gradient. So it's not as steep as Hardknott, for example, but it's fairly steep. The slate around here apparently it's world famous. Been used in royal palaces and castles and all sorts right around the world, I think. And we didn't see it this time, but there is actually a legend, or there are legends of ghostly miners that are still wandering this area.
So, no creepers though.
No creepers. Well, it's not Minecraft. Well,
it does feel a little bit like Minecraft.
A little bit Minecraft, yeah. So maybe we actually need to come back here when it's a little bit misty, a bit of an atmosphere. See if we can see any ghostly miners. Just sort of like, when it's a bit dark, misty.
Well,
so I can see.
That does take me right back to when we did actually do a ghost tour on the bike. So I think I might be a little bit put off with that. We did decide to do a ghost tour on the bike. Was it Bolton Abbey we were going to?
So that was the first place. So this was Halloween last year.
Yep. So that was terrible weather. That was misty.
So we're going to go 4 different places?
Yep.
Bolton Abbey was the first one. And then we're going to go 3 other haunted, spooky places as well. The last one we were going to end up at was Whitby Abbey.
Yeah.
Of course, from Dracula. And it was misty.
It was. I mean, all of the roads were actually quite spooky.
They were twisty. They were these foresty type roads. So, in the dark with the mist, it had a real sort of spooky, ghoulish kind of vibe to them.
And we just got to Bolton.
Like literally right to Bolton. We went in the gate of
Yeah.
Bolton. So we were on the grounds.
And that is where the bike broke down.
The bike then decided, no, not going to go any further.
Right in the middle of a spooky Halloween special.
Yeah. So,
night.
well, actually, I'm saying the bike decided it wasn't going to go any further. We did manage to get back, but we rode back at 30 miles an hour the whole way back.
So that was spooky. So I don't really fancy breaking down where there are mine ghosts.
Well, what are they going to do?
Well, I don't know. What do mine ghosts do?
Well, I've never
Nobody's
encountered
lived
it,
to
so-
tell the tale.
Well, that's true.
So if we knew,
That's true.
then I wouldn't be so scared.
Maybe they catch you, turn you into a mine ghost as well, pull you underground, and then you spend the rest of your life underground,
Turn you into stone.
turn you into stone.
Yeah, I would think so. But the views here, you know, outside of the Minecraft, were brilliant again. So you're just kind of in a valley,
Yeah.
really, of stone all around. And I know we've said this quite a few times, but we've actually said this quite a few times when we've been on the trips ourselves, anywhere else, about a huge trek and huge travel we went to go to Cheddar Gorge.
Yeah.
And it's just not a patch. I mean, it's beautiful to see, but really short when this is like, you know, 2.5 hours from us. So absolutely worth the trip. And just, again, a different world to think. It was in one day, you're seeing glorious hills, then slate mines, then lakes, just every corner, mountains, every corner.
And with the blue sky and the sun, it just made a perfect atmosphere all day.
Yeah, absolutely, it was. We did have a smile from ear to ear the whole day, really, didn't we?
No, I've got to ask though, what have we got against Cheddar Gorge?
Because we travelled 7 hours. I mean, we had to take the car, which was a bit more miserable anyway because of the wind.
Yeah.
I loved going where the beach was, where it was windy because we were being blown off the rocks. I mean, that wasn't a smart thing to do, actually.
Blown into the sea, like genuinely nearly blown into the sea.
We were nearly blown in. I mean, I don't know who chooses to go to the beach in a red wind warning when they say don't go out because you might die. And we go to the beach. But so I don't know whether it was already because of that we'd had to take the car. It wasn't the trip we were expecting, although it was still nice. And then we actually get to Cheddar Gorge and it's like 10 seconds.
It was short. It was an anticlimax, I will agree.
It was quite a build up for very little return.
Yeah. I was expecting a little bit more.
Yeah. So it's not what females want.
Well, I wouldn't know because we don't have the same problem. We just go, oh, that was great. Was that as good for you as it was for me? I mean, you're not done yet. Well, I am.
So the amount of times we've seen different places, and I've just thought, we travelled all that distance for 10 seconds.
Yeah. No, it really was an anticlimax.
Yeah. So Cheddar Gorge itself was lovely.
Yeah. So if you do live around Cheddar Gorge, please don't take offence. It is purely personal opinion, and if you do want to take offence, it's all Michelle's opinion.
Yes, absolutely fine with that. If it was round the corner, I think it would be wonderful. I just don't think 7 or 8 hours in a car certainly is worth 10 seconds of beauty. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. We could have watched
I like
it
a little bit more substance to my gorges.
There was a lot of foreplay coming after the gorge, and then the actual moment was a bit meh.
Yeah. Well, the moment was spectacular.
Yeah.
For 10 seconds.
Yeah. For the quick moment.
Yeah, for the quick moment.
So we're coming down Honister now.
That was fun.
Yeah. we're going to come on to Kirkstone after this, so you have to ride a little bit to get to Kirkstone from here. But yeah, I mean, what do you say about it? Because all you can say is just how amazing it is. How it was just so beautiful. And if you may be watching this and you're not a biker, watching it in the video, looks great, but actually being there on two wheels in the open air, with the engine under your bum, and just experiencing the thrill in the mountains, on the curvy roads, with good company. Well, I'm saying good company, questionable company. You might have better company. But, that aside, it's just an immense experience.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for you, I don't ride a bike. Otherwise, you would have no company with some of the comments that you have. But I have to agree, I've never experienced... I was a little bit nervous when you first got this bike because I'd never been on a bike before. So that was
That's right.
about a year and a half ago. And I wasn't sure if I would like it. But actually, the calm of the locations that we go to, yet the thrill of actually the ride and being out there in the open, it's just that the differences between those two things of excitement and calm.
Yeah. It suits both your personalities perfectly, doesn't it?
It suits two of them.
It suits two of them.
It suits two of them.
At least two of them.
Yeah.
Well, the first time that you were on a bike in your life was the day that I picked up the bike, and from northeast England, it was a Saturday. It was the Saturday that the 2022 Rugby World Cup final was on. Was it 2023? 2023 Rugby World Cup final was on. South Africa was playing New Zealand, and we decided to go with the bike from northeast England to Edinburgh. So I picked it up in the afternoon. First time we then got on a bike, rode through to Edinburgh, went and watched the World Cup final in a pub, and then came back. Now when we came back, it was a yellow warning for wind, and it was a yellow warning for rain, and it was windy, and it was wet and freezing. So here's your first time on a bike in heavy winds.
No waterproofs.
No waterproofs. You had your riding jeans and thermal bottoms on, I think that was it. Mm-hmm. And then in the top you had your thermal top and probably a jacket. And I had the same as well. Not nearly enough for the conditions. So we came back. We rode from Edinburgh back to northeast of England at about 40 miles an hour most of the way, because I was still getting used to this bike and with the heavy winds. And I actually thought that you wouldn't get back on the bike again.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, there was a lot of McDonald's stops, but I loved it. Yeah. It was brilliant. So this is Kirkstone Pass.
Yeah.
Now, so we've been riding on this one for a little while, and this was another really, really good one, wasn't it? So, is this one of the highest ones?
It is about 450 meters thereabouts. So yeah, it's fairly high. There is a pub at the summit, the Kirkstone Inn, which is actually one of the highest pubs in England.
And a lot of bikers do meet there, although it is closed at the moment. So that's closed. Looks like it might be being refurbished or something. And actually, I think that would be really, really busy for bikers.
Yeah, I imagine so. But I think there were bikers still on this day.
Yeah, there were.
When we came past, yeah.
Just in the car parks, I think it's still busy with bikers and cars as well. So it is one of the popular passes.
Yeah, but apparently Kirkstone Inn is haunted by a monk and a woman who died in a snowstorm.
Why do I feel like I know where our next spooky tour is going to be?
Well, I do think we should come back when it's a bit atmospheric.
I think it would be Not so great though in mist and snow potentially and rain.
Well, we do try and stay out of the snow. However, we have been known to ride in the snow.
Not up a pass though.
Not up. Well, we have in Harris, that eastern road. What was that like?
Yeah, that was high.
Narrow, steep.
I wouldn't necessarily choose to do that again in the snow though.
Well, I can't say that I won't. I can't say that I won't. I'll be honest about it.
Enjoy.
Which I will.
See. I know.
Which I will.
We'll see. You say that, and then all of a sudden I realise I'm on a bike on a pass in the snow.
Yeah. So actually, if you haven't seen the Harris, we've got a Harris strip on yet. If you haven't seen those videos, we're actually riding in the snow on this bike, so might be worth watching that.
That is one thing to say though. Your bike must be comfortable.
It
because
is.
a lot of people say that they can't do much riding and the bum gets sore and whatever else. And I've never had that on your bike. I mean, we've rode up to about 20 hours.
Yeah, we've had
pretty much straight. Obviously getting off and having little rests in between. But you know, there's a few times lately, but I am 40 now, probably since turning 40, that now I'll have to be tipped off the bike when it's cold.
Yeah, you have to be lifted up and your legs are just straight and stiff. Yeah, you have to be tipped like that just so your leg can come over.
You know, but a bath and I'm thawed out and back to normal. But yeah, I certainly don't get a sore bum.
No, my bum doesn't really get sore. After a good few hours, sometimes my right arm gets a little bit sore because obviously I don't have cruise control on there, so it's holding the throttle all the time. But generally it's fine.
So would you get cruise control the next time?
I am looking for that. Yeah, I do want cruise control.
What else would you get different?
So I want one that has a heated seat. One cruise control. You can get bikes now like the Vosges 900, for example, where you've got blind spot detection. I think that'd be quite nice.
Right.
It even does things like if a car comes up quickly behind you, it will flash the brake lights as well, which I think is a good safety feature. But those aren't necessities. But yeah, I'd love a heated seat. I want a built-in GPS, so I don't have to use my phone. But I want Bluetooth as well.
There's all the bikes.
Yeah, I want Bluetooth as well, so that I can still listen to my music.
So this is Kirkstone.
This is Kirkstone Inn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could see all the bikes there, even though that pub is actually closed at the moment.
Yeah. What would be on your wish list for the next bike?
Well, it'd be nice if I wasn't reverse.
If what?
If I wasn't reverse. So when you're on a hill and I need to get off and push. So if I wasn't reverse, that would be helpful.
I see what you mean.
I never realised that was a thing. I never realised that bikes didn't go backwards.
Some bikes do. Some bikes do have a reverse gear, like the BMW K1600, for example, or the Goldwing. They do have reverse gears.
Yeah, so me not being reverse. And I think you should only be allowed a heated seat if it comes with a pillion heated seat.
Well, that's what I would do, though. I wouldn't just get a heated seat.
I didn't know if you could get for both.
You can.
Oh.
Yeah, most of them, once it's for one, it's for the other one as well.
Oh, well, that's all right. You're allowed a heated seat.
Oh,
then.
Thank you. Well, that's very kind of
on
you.
your bike.
I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you.
But yeah, I think actually, other than that, as long as it was still comfortable, anything.
Yeah, so just for the record, my bike is a Suzuki V-Strom 650, 2013 model. And what's interesting is, when I bought it, it had 30,500 miles on. It was 10 years old, and within the first year, we'd put 22,000 miles on.
Yep. That's a lot of miles.
So that's nearly double the mileage it's had in 1 year that it's had in 10 years.
That's crazy, that. I mean, you are best friends with the bike shop.
Yeah.
Now for maintenance.
Yeah.
Tyres, chains.
And just, it goes in so much. But it's the weather. It's a Saltney road, and it needs constant maintenance. And that's on top of the stuff that I do here as well at home.
Yeah, it is well looked after.
It is very well looked after. Although when you look at it, you wouldn't necessarily say it because it's got some corrosion. It's got some rusty bits and stuff. But again, it's a salt. But it is actually very well looked after.
It is.
I mean, if I had to spend this much time and effort and money on the car, I'd have sold it a long time ago. There's no question about that.
But you do get to do this.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's worth it. It's a small price to pay.
Yeah. We are now, because everybody is out on the bikes, because it's nice sunny weather, you can't get in to get done what you need doing.
Yeah, I've got a leaking fork seal at the minute, so it needs to go in for that. But 3-week waiting time at the bike shop.
So it's been about a week and a half, and even now I'm starting to get the shakes.
Yeah, because all of the fair weather riders want to get their bikes done this time of year. I've been told by the bike shop the other day that so it's quite a well-known bike shop. It's they are really busy generally, but I am their customer with the second highest mileage, yearly mileage. The person who does the most mileage, who's a regular customer with them, is a delivery driver, a delivery rider. But
considering you have a full-time job outside of riding a bike.
Yeah. So I am the one that does the most riding at the stupid times of the year, other than the delivery rider. So maybe I should just get a delivery riding job.
You had very specific conditions when I was asking you about what type of delivery riding you would do. It had to be long distance.
Yeah, I don't want to do just local stuff.
And have plenty of time to be able to get back, so you could use interesting roads rather than just motorways.
Absolutely. I don't just want to be stuck in motorways.
And at least the same wages as what you get now.
Yeah, that's a given.
So
I've got less money.
We'll look out for one for you.
Thank you. Yeah, we might have to look a little while.
We might have to look a little while. So in the meantime, maybe just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah.
Look, if I could go part-time and still get paid the same as I do now, maybe I should speak to my boss and see what we can arrange.
Good luck. Good luck. Will you speak to my boss at the same time?
Yeah, no problem.
Because you need a companion.
Yeah. If I could take a 6-month sabbatical over every summer and spring.
I mean, you'd have to find a summer and a spring.
True.
Different country.
Yeah. Well, that would work as well.
Yep, absolutely.
That would work as well. So we're just sort of coming up to the end of Kirkstone, yeah. We have some photos as well, which we're just going to show you from the rides, and also from the day when we actually managed to go for the walk.
We actually did the
3 weeks
walk.
later. Yeah.
So last weekend we finally got the walk done. So you will get to see that very soon.
Yeah.
What a day.
Just amazing day. So there we are. Finally got to the walk. Finally managed to do it. So thank you very much for watching.
See you next time.
See you next time.